13th. I'm Lauren Barnes.
And I'm Joe Morano. A lot to get to this hour on this Friday the 13th, but a lot of people are excited about the Pro Bull Riding Tour that's stopping by.
Yeah, Hannah's out there getting in on that action early for us, so she'll give us a little bit of a preview here in a minute.
That is right. And of course, as always, we check in with meteorologist Elisa Rapid this morning, getting our forecast first, hoping we start the weekend off on the right foot.
Yeah, Hannah was excited about that in the newsroom, getting to go to the bull riding. Got to see how close she actually gets to the bull.
It's a scary sight. They're a bit big. They're a bit beastly.
A little bit.
So we'll see. But this weekend, weather-wise, everything is going all right so far?
Yeah, we've got the front coming through now, so some relief today, but the temperatures crank back up this weekend. Starting out at 70 degrees right now in Springfield, still pretty warm. That cooler air mass hasn't really gotten here quite yet. West winds at 6 miles per hour and clouds in Springfield. A couple of light showers there as well. The showers have really been pretty light, nothing all too crazy on the radar this morning. Maybe some locally heavy downpours just to the north of Highway 60 here near Monette. Some lighter showers around Mount Vernon and Republic here this morning as well. But again, it's just been, they're waning, they're weakening, and they're moving south and east. Still a little bit on the warm side at 70 degrees in Springfield. Still on the humid side this morning, but that pleasant air mass is working its way in. We'll have a cooling, drying trend as we head through the day today. So showers work their way south this morning, starting out with some wet roads, but will be dry by dismissal, a grade of an A+, cooler and less humid with a mix of sun and clouds. For those football games tonight, I think it's going to be really nice. We'll have some pleasant conditions on the fields with temperatures in the 70s, feeling good. Joe, Lauren.
Police say a person has been shot in the leg at a home in the 3200 block of West Page. That's in a neighborhood southeast of West Bypass and Mount Vernon. The shooting happened shortly after 7 last night. Both the victim and witness were uncooperative with officers, so we don't know how badly the person was injured. No other details were given, but we'll continue to look for updates as we learn more information.
And we keep crime in focus this morning for you. After a long trial this week, Kenneth Davis has been found guilty of all 7 counts of abusing an 8-year-old girl. The verdict was read yesterday after jurors heard those closing arguments. Davis is also charged with abuse of a child, leading to the death in the case of Kensley Kilgore. She died last year in Douglas County. Kilgore's family members told us they were relieved when they heard these guilty verdicts.
It was very hard, very hard.
He's gonna get what he deserves, and it's coming. And today was a huge step.
And Davis is expected to be sentenced on December 6th in Greene County.
In your political news, more than 100,000 Missourians were dropped from Medicaid coverage in the past year, and 90,000 of those children.
People across the state gathered at the Capitol yesterday to express concern about that. Republicans say a booming economy is one reason. Another is that people didn't want Medicaid coverage anymore. However, Representative Crystal Quaid says that's not a good enough reason.
We're seeing a 5 to 7% increase from Missouri's loss of coverage for Medicaid compared to other states, but we're not seeing the same thing with other social service programs. So if it was the economy, then we would see that across the board, and we're not.
Quaid had initially asked Speaker of the House Elijah Hard to task a committee to hold official hearings on the Medicaid drops, but he had not done that. Quaid said they heard from lawyers that represent people trying to get back on Medicaid and says the biggest problem they're seeing now is lacking communication between the Department of Health and those people.
That is probably the overarching biggest issue that we're hearing from folks is just they didn't know they lost coverage because they never received anything in the mail from the department. People then try to call into the department to find out what's going on, and that was an overwhelming piece of the conversation was that these call centers are cumbersome. People will sit on the line anywhere from 30 minutes to over an hour, and the department will also admit to this fact that oftentimes the call center will just drop calls.
Also, it wasn't just Democrats at the hearing. Representative Mike Moon, who serves Ash Grove, also was in attendance. We gave his office a call, but haven't heard his opinion about that hearing. Quaid said she will still be pushing for an investigation into those drops.
For the second time in a row now, the Springfield Planning and Zoning Commission has voted no on recommendations to improve the Galloway neighborhood. This has been an ongoing issue since last November when many residents spoke out against rezoning. Since then, several public meetings were held to try to find a compromise with the city and the neighborhood. Last night's meeting mostly centered around recommendations on the aesthetics and building designs in Galloway. But after a discussion, committee members voted against the changes with 2 people absent. The issue was already tabled in August and will now be tabled once again for some time in the future. The recommendations cannot go before City Council until Planning and Zoning approves.
The city of Springfield looked for public opinion last night on plans for enhancing a couple of alleyways downtown lying between Robertson and Jefferson. All these improvements come with goals of making people feel welcome while getting from the parking lot to other areas downtown.
It really kind of draws some aesthetic to the area, makes some improvements, allows a place, creates sort of a streetscape connecting Blaine alleyway to Commercial Street, allows where we have some of our public parking, allows them to basically transition from there over to the farmers market or to Commercial Street and do that, have an area that feels safe and welcoming.
Once the final designs are approved, construction should begin on this in the spring.
Also happening around the Ozarks, we're approaching the beginning of hunting season, which many people look forward to every year. This Sunday, bow season opens up for deer and turkey hunters. It doesn't have the big boom that firearm season does in November, but plenty of hunters are expected to tough out the heat for opening weekend. Francis Skaliski with the Missouri Department of Conservation says they hope hunters will continue to help them track chronic wasting disease, a brain wasting disease in the deer population.
One thing we're doing with the archery season this year is voluntary CWD testing, voluntary testing for chronic wasting disease. We've had 116 positive samples in Missouri since we found our first positive in 2012.
Now, like he said, the testing is only voluntary, but mandatory testing is in place for opening weekend firearm season, which gets going in November. Professional bull riding has circled back to Springfield for the PFI Western International.
That's right, and Hannah Zettel is over at JQH Arena this morning live with a sneak peek and a bull of what's happening this weekend. Hannah, how are you?
Good morning, Lauren and Joe. We are here at JQH Arena now this is my first time, for this invitational, but, a little earlier in the year, you guys saw me meet a bull, Yeti. Do you know Yeti?
I don't.
Well, he's great. This is Taylor Tovis. He's a professional bull rider. So, Taylor, thank you for waking up with us. I mean, do you usually get up this early?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, and so you got a big night. Everything kicks off at 7:45 tonight at JQH. So tell us a little bit about the event.
This event here it'll be tonight at 7:45, and then tomorrow night at 6:45, and then Sunday at like 1:45, I think. So for us, it's a big event. It's a 3-day event, so there's a lot of points and money for us to win here. So it's being this late in the year, a 3-day event is huge for all of us.
Sure. And so how long have you been bull riding?
I started riding steers and like junior bulls and stuff when I was 12, so like 7th grade. So I don't know how many years that is now, but it's a long time.
Right. And so, we talked a little bit earlier off camera about some injuries you've had. What keeps you coming back even though you do have to deal with that?
Trying to win, trying to be the best. I feel like that's any physical sport that anybody plays. Injuries are just part of it. So you learn how to adapt to it and just get over them and heal the best you can and do the best you can with whatever you got left. So as long as you can keep doing it physically, there's no reason to stop.
Right. And so you did bring some of your gear here. So tell me a little bit about this.
This is the protective vest that everybody has to wear that we wear. It's just like a pretty thin, kind of high density foam. It's like it does help disperse blows, like if a bull gets a foot on you or whatever. Right. And then these are what we call chaps that everybody wears these too. They're just, you'll see guys that have sponsors on them or whatever. They're all different colors and you can get them made however you want. But they don't protect much. They do help a little bit, but they're mainly just kind of a show thing that's been around for a long time. And this is the rope that we use. Put your hand in the handle, all this stuff over it. It's called rosin. It's really sticky stuff that helps you hang on to it. Right. And that's the rope that goes around that we hang on to.
Wow, that's it. Wow, very, very impressive stuff. Well, stay with us because I hear that we have another guest coming a little bit later, but for now we'll throw it back to you in the studio.
Better be a bull, Hannah. We've got some clouds out across the Ozarks this morning with a few light showers. Some wet roads as you get started. Cooler today, but the heat is on its way back already. Details coming up right after the break.
From Color 10 Ozarks First, Lauren Barnes, Joe Morano, and weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa. This is Color 10 News Daybreak. And now weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa.
Good morning and happy Friday. We're starting out with clouds in Springfield. Still a warm 70 degrees on west winds. We've got a cold front coming through this morning with a couple of light showers along the I-44 corridor and areas back down to the south and west. These showers are waning, they're weakening, and they're moving east and southeast. There hasn't really been all too much on the radar this morning. A couple of heavier downpours along I-44 and Highway 37 there, and then just to the north and east of Monette, Cassville, about to get in on a quick downpour there too, but a lot of it has been light. The roads will likely be wet in Springfield, and then these showers will work their way south and east of the interstate. Again, this front isn't really doing too much in the way of rain for us this morning, and what you're going to notice even more is that difference in the feel out there by this afternoon. Starting out still humid and sticky, but once this front continues to work its way south and east, we've got cooler, less humid air on its way right behind it. So temperatures actually closer to average for the first time in over 2 weeks. 83 degrees will be closer to the average of 82. We're looking at those showers to start. We probably hang on to a couple of clouds through the afternoon, and temperatures will be cooler than yesterday in the upper 70s and lower 80s. So we could still keep a shower to the south and east here earlier on today. And then we'll just keep some clouds and temperatures much cooler than yesterday. Really comfortable overnight tonight. Temperatures in the upper 50s and lower 60s. It's going to feel good out there. And then by tomorrow, starting to feel a little bit more sticky. South winds push us back into the middle and upper 80s. That feels like won't be terrible. Again, today it's going to be nice in the lower 80s, but then by tomorrow starts to get a little bit stickier, closer to 90 degrees to the south and west, and that's a sign of where we're going. That front only really brings us relief for today. That summer ridge of high pressure that brings us that dome of heat and humidity slides back in, especially Sunday into Monday, where we're looking at temperatures back in the lower 90s again. By Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday of next week, all 10 degrees above the average and all summery, just like we were last week. 83 degrees today. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds. Those showers work their way south. It'll be cooler and less humid on north and west winds. 63 overnight, cool and comfortable. 87 tomorrow, warmer and a little bit stickier on south winds. We start to bring back that summery feel already. Lower 90s again on Sunday, starting to heat up again. We keep temperatures in the lower 90s through the middle of next week with sunshine. Our next cold front doesn't come through until Thursday. Day 7 on the 7-day forecast, so another summery stretch just like we had this last week.
We will deal. I think we'll be all right.
We're used to it.
Yeah. We're used to it at this point. You should be, really. Mid-September, approaching that. We've only got time for one birthday to guess this morning, guys, all right? So we got to make it count. Going musician, though, with this one, all right? Dave Mustaine from Metallica and Megadeth. Thought we'd be hearing one of those songs right now. Guess not. But how old do you think? Metallica, band that's been around for a while there.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
64.
68.
57?
How old is Dave?
Oh, I was so close.
And a shout out to our viewers at home celebrating birthdays and anniversaries today. Let's see who we have. We have Mike Harp, Colleen Grogan.
Yeah, it's my best friend of 20 years, guys. Happy birthday, Colleen.
We also have Bill Hebrank celebrating this weekend, and Dave and Carol Palmer with a weekend anniversary. Don't forget, if you want a birthday or anniversary announced, just send us an email to birthdays@color10.com.
Stay with us. Sports is coming up in a few minutes.
And now, sports on Color 10 News.
The Chiefs will continue their season opening road trip this Sunday but going back on the road west to take on the Oakland Raiders. But in the 60-year history here, it's been a long storied rivalry. This will be the last time they play in the Black Hole because the Raiders are moving to Vegas next season. That game, though, will be just after 3 o'clock on Color 10 here on Sunday. KC has owned this rivalry, though, over the years, winning 10 of the last 12 games played over the course of the last 6 seasons. Both teams, though, 1-0 after season opening wins, and this is a good old-fashioned rivalry, so expect a tough physical battle.
And those guys are playing with a ton of energy. All those young guys that they had last year have really elevated their game. And the guys they brought in, they're playing with a ton of confidence. And so they're going to be a great test for us. They do a lot of different coverages, a lot of different blitzes. And so for us, it's going to be an early test that we're going to have to go out there and have a good game plan for.
So it's a great rivalry. They don't like us and we don't like them. So, but at the end of the day, we out here trying to win a football game. And, you know, by any means, that's all we're trying to do is win a football game.
All right, let's do some baseball scores right now. The Cardinals lost the last 2 days by scores of 2-1. However, they trounced the Rockies 10-3 in the series finale there. Plenty of homers in this one. 5 home runs actually in that game total. Meanwhile, the Royals upend the Chicago White Sox 6-3, your final count there. We now move on to Friday night football is what everyone's looking at. We got some nice peaks of sunshine happening right now, or sunrise, as we look outside at the moment. It's pretty nice this morning, huh?
I think it's going to be so nice on the fields tonight because you'll have some dry conditions, you'll have temperatures in the 70s, but it won't come with that humidity, so it's going to feel better out there.
So it'll be all right for everyone's kicking off in, about 13 hours from now?
Yeah, we've got a couple of clouds out there this morning at 70 degrees on west winds at 6 miles per hour. And we've got a few of these showers along the I-44 corridor this morning, but again, the radar hasn't really been all that exciting. A lot of this rain is light, some more locally heavy downpours along I-44 near Mount Vernon and Monette, but that's about it. You'll have some wet roads possible this morning, and then these little itty-bitty showers continue to move south and east. Temperatures are around 70, so still a warm start out there this morning, still a humid one, but that cooler, more pleasant air is on its way in. So by dismissal, 83 degrees, a mix of sun and clouds, cooler and less humid out there. It should feel nice. By those tailgates for tonight, the Friday night lights, 1st and 10, will be cool and comfy. Temperatures in the 70s by about halftime, but these will be more pleasant 70s coming without the humidity. So maybe a shower lingers south today early. Then we're looking at just a mix of sun and clouds and temperatures cooler than yesterday. Really comfortable tonight, temperatures in the lower 60s. We start to crank up that heat again already tomorrow. Middle and upper 80s, starting to feel stickier. That feels like forecast again will be pleasant today, but look what happens tomorrow. Already starting to feel like the upper 80s and lower 90s again, starting to get a little bit stickier and stickier. Your lawn might be a little bit damp this morning. If you want to mow it, you could probably do it later, and then you'll have dry conditions through the entire weekend and into early next week. If you're looking to hit a yard sale this weekend, it's going to be summery, 87 on Saturday, 91 on Sunday, already cranking back that heat with mostly sunny skies. We stay summery through early next week, temperatures back in the lower 90s, again 10 degrees above the average and probably close to those records again. Another summery stretch continues.
Coming up next, we're looking back on last night's Democratic debate.
Yeah, and what the candidates say about strict gun control and a variety of other topics. That's all coming up when Daybreak continues in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. 10 Democrats had a lengthy debate at Texas Southern University last night. Healthcare was once again a big focus, just like the previous two, but so was the topic of guns. We check in this morning with CBS's Natalie Brand, who has the details on what unfolded.
A feisty fight over health care kicked off the third Democratic presidential debate.
Nobody's yet said how much it's going to cost.
Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren defended Medicare for All.
Under my legislation, people will not go into financial ruin.
I've actually never met anybody who likes their health insurance company.
While more moderate candidates pushed back.
A nonprofit choice that will bring down the cost of insurance.
I'm for Barack. I think the Obamacare worked.
Former Housing Secretary Julian Castro went after frontrunner Joe Biden directly.
Are you forgetting what you said 2 minutes ago?
Some on stage said the attack on the 76-year-old former vice president went too far.
This is why presidential debates are becoming unwatchable.
The debate in Houston was the first since recent mass shootings, including 2 here in Texas that killed more than 24 people, putting gun violence in focus.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
The debate also came just one day after the 18th anniversary of 9/11. South Bend Mayor and veteran Pete Buttigieg called for a stop to endless wars.
When I am president, an authorization for the use of military force will have a built-in 3-year sunset.
The 5 candidates who were asked all promised to bring American troops home from Iraq and Afghanistan. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Houston.
The next debate is scheduled for October 15th in Ohio. It'll likely be another 2-night affair, though, because 11 candidates have already qualified for that one. It is the bottom of the hour here on Daybreak, so our top 3 stories for your morning is up next.
And one more check of your weather. Don't go anywhere.
Good morning. My name is Indiana, and I go to Cowan Elementary School. Today, September 13th, and the lunch menu is cheese pizza, grilled cheese sandwich, steamed spinach, baby carrots, and diced peaches. Now it sounds like a great menu to me. See you later, Cowan Cougars.
now weather with meteorologist Elisa Raffa.
Good morning. If you're just waking up with us, a cold front's moving through now. Showers are working their way south. Cooler and less humid today, but not for long. That heat will return by the end of the weekend. We've got some sunshine peeking through clouds in Springfield. Still a warm start at 70 degrees. We've got these showers pretty light along the I-44 corridor, some wet roads this morning, and then those showers work their way south and eastward. It's 70 in Ava and 70 in Branson, so still one last warm and humid start, but by dismissal, cooler and less humid. 83 degrees, a grade of an A+, with a mix of sun and clouds. For that tailgating in the football games tonight, it's going to be cool and comfy. A mix of sun and clouds for the kickoff, clear skies through the halftime with temperatures in the lower 70s. Joe?
Your top 3 stories this morning. First, locally, it's that time of year when pro bull riding makes its stop in Springfield. The best riders in the area will be at JQH Arena. That's where we find Hannah Zettel this morning. Hannah, good morning. How is it out there?
Joe, good morning. I won't lie, it's a little hot, but it's going to get even hotter because this stadium is going to be totally full later today. The event's starting up at 7:45 tonight. It runs through Sunday. And right now, I'm very privileged to be joined by Cooper Davis. He is the 2016 world champ, and right now he's ranked number 5 in the world. How are you feeling?
I feel really good. You know, I'm a little bit tired this morning, but you know, I'm ready to get this show rolling. It's going to be pretty good.
So tell me a little bit about what's on the line. Like, what points are on the line for this one?
So this event's a little bit different than most. You know, we've got a little bit more of an opportunity to come out here and get a bunch of points at 15-15, which is the top 15 bull riders and top 15 bulls. So there's a lot of points on the line right now for us guys coming in, trying to get to that finals or trying to get to that next world championship.
Yeah, and how about the fans? I mean, it's going to be packed. How does that make you feel?
Absolutely. You know, Springfield's always one that we always want to get to, and you know, it's kind of that homely feel, but at the same time, you know, everybody's on top of you and cheering you on, so helps you get that 8 seconds.
I've always wondered, when you're riding, do you hear the fans, or are you kind of just in the zone?
You're in the zone, but you know, you can also kind of feel the presence, and you know, whenever you're at a crowd that really knows what's going on, it can push you to hang on that extra half second to get the whistle.
Cooper Davis, thank you so much. We'll throw it back to you in the studio.
All right, we'll check back in with Hannah one more time in a few minutes as well. Regionally for you, a suspect is dead and deputy in custody, or in the hospital rather, after a shooting in Joplin last night. Authorities were checking on a reported stolen vehicle, and one of the deputies was attempting to talk with someone regarding that car. That's when the suspect shot at the deputy, hitting him in the lower calf. Police later found the suspect dead on that same property. Finally now, this is a look at 2 deputies in Houston rappelling down the Fred Hartman Bridge as more than 20 Greenpeace protesters formed a blockade there ahead of the Democratic debate yesterday. The goal was to block the oil export channel protesting the fossil fuel industry. The plan was to be there for 24 hours, but the spotters have already been arrested. That's a look at your top 3, Lauren.
All right, Joe, thank you for that. We're also following the relationship between U.S. and China as it may be warming up a bit. President Trump has a partial peace offering toward China that could ease tensions between the two superpowers. The postponement of the tariff increase to 30% on $250 billion worth of goods was originally set to begin on China's 70th anniversary.
We gave them a 2-week in honor of President Xi. We gave them a 2-week reprieve, and so we'll be doing the tariffs on October 15th instead of October 5th or 1st.
The Trump administration's announcement also comes on the heels of Beijing waiving import tariffs on some U.S. items. And a look at today's Market Watch. Here you are. Yesterday, the Nikkei gained 228 points. The Dow up 45. Dow futures rebounding up 108 this morning. Yesterday, the Nasdaq also in the green, up 24 points. And once again this morning, up 31. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Daybreak in just a few minutes.
now, forecast first on Color 10 News Ozarks First.
Good morning. It was hot again out there yesterday. Temperatures in the lower 90s for much of the Ozarks. We hit 92 degrees for a high in Springfield. Of course, much above the average of 82, and just like the last couple of days, not all that far from our records. The record stands at 97 from 1939, so we were just 5 degrees shy. All but 2 days so far this month have been in the 90s. So 12 days of September, 11 of them have been above average. Again, 10 of them in the 90s. The month is running almost 8 degrees warm. Starting out with a couple of clouds in Springfield right now. The sun is peeking through at 70 degrees on west winds at 6 miles per hour. We've got a cold front working its way through with a couple of light showers. And the radar has not really been all that interesting this morning. It's just a couple of light showers, maybe some more moderate downpours along I-44 near Mount Vernon and Monette and Aurora, seeing some more moderate downpours, but for the most part, this rain has been really light, widely scattered, and working its way east and southeast, so we could still get in on a couple of showers around the Branson, Ava, Mountain Grove area. But the action not really with this front in the way of rain. What you'll notice more is the change in air mass. We're still starting out pretty warm and sticky this morning. With some southerly winds still in play and a little bit of a lag once those air masses change. But a cooler, less humid air mass is on its way in, and it's going to feel better as we head through the afternoon. Finally, much closer to average for the first time in about 2 weeks, 83 for that high, closer to the average of 82. We're looking at a couple of showers this morning working their way south. We're left with a couple of clouds this afternoon, but a cooling, drying, and clearing trend takes place today. Again, maybe a shower left to the south, especially along that state line. Otherwise, a mix of sun and clouds this afternoon with temperatures in the upper 70s and lower 80s. By tonight, clear and comfortable. Upper 50s and lower 60s. South winds put us back in the middle and upper 80s tomorrow, feeling a little bit stickier, not quite as nice tomorrow afternoon. That feels like today again in the lower 80s, feeling good, feeling great tonight. And then by tomorrow, it's starting to trend a little bit stickier with that real feel popping back into the 90s for parts of the Ozarks, especially to the south and west. That summer area of high pressure, that dome of heat and humidity, returns already late Saturday into Sunday, where we're looking at that heat coming back already. One day near average today, already above average again tomorrow in the upper 80s, then lower 90s return Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, even into Wednesday next week. All of those days running 10 degrees above average again. 83 degrees today, mix of sun and clouds, cooler and less humid on north and west winds. 63 overnight, cool and comfortable. 87 tomorrow, warm and sticky. South winds come back, so it starts to feel a little bit more summery. Then the summer heat is back on Sunday, some lower 90s. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, a few clouds on Wednesday. Our next cold front does not come through until Thursday of next week.
It is that time of the week on a Friday when Steve Pokin, the Answer Man, joins us next.
Today, he's answering a question about new construction at a local Coca-Cola plant. We'll be right back.
And welcome on back, everyone. Steve Pokin from the Springfield News Leader joins us this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. So we know today you're answering a question from a viewer who lives near Packer Road.
Yes.
Something about that's going on near there.
Yes, there's a large field, about 25, 30 acres. It's been a field for a long time, nothing on it. And there's been a lot of grading going on in the last week, just on the other side of his fence. So as I always do, I went out there to take a look, and it is near a Coca-Cola bottling plant.
Right.
So everyone kind of thinks that it involves Coca-Cola, and they are correct. They are building a 400,000 square foot warehouse. And they make a lot of different products these days, not just Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper,
right?
Coffee drinks, carbonated water,
energy drinks,
sports drinks. So the Sally Hargis, who's the chairman of the board of the local company, says they just started. They haven't made any announcements about this until I called, and it's going to be a big deal. And I took there's the Coca-Cola place, and I took a photo from a backyard, and over my 40-year illustrious journalism career, it is one of the best field being graded photos I've ever taken, in my humble opinion. I had to stand on a chair to get it.
It's a beautiful photo. I want to ask you, is there any timeline, I know you kind of surprised him with this, for jobs or completion date?
Right.
They said all they said is it's going to be built by next year, 2020, and that will celebrate 100 years of the family owning this business. Sally Hargis told me that her grandparents moved to the area and bought the franchise, so it'll be done in their 100-year anniversary. There will be more jobs. I asked her how many. She says a little too early to tell, but we'll be adding employees.
All right, well, that's always good news.
Fantastic. You can read about it in the Springfield News Leader. Steve, thank you for coming on. Everyone stay with us. Daybreak in 10 is up next. Welcome back, everyone. Time for Daybreak in 10 on Color 10.
We'll be on the air commercial free for the next 10 minutes to get through the end of Daybreak for you. Let's get started with a check of your forecast first.
Good morning, guys. We have sun peeking through a couple of clouds in Springfield. Still a warm start at 70 degrees. Winds out of the west will start to cool us down. We have a front coming through with some light showers along I-44. A lot of this rain has been pretty light, but it's working its way east and southeast, so we could still get in on a couple of showers in south central Missouri. Again, temperatures starting out warm around 70 degrees and feeling pretty humid again this morning. But a cooler, less humid air mass is on its way. 83 degrees by dismissal, a mix of sun and clouds, and much closer to average. Really comfortable for those football games tonight. Temperatures in the 70s will feel nice by halftime. We'll lose that humidity as we head through the day today. So we could still pop a shower to the south along the state line early today. Otherwise, just some lingering clouds and temperatures cooler in the lower 80s. Really nice tonight. Lower 60s will be much more comfortable. South winds put us back in the middle and upper 80s tomorrow, starting to trend warmer than average with sunshine and getting summery. So that weekend forecast warmer and sticky on Saturday, 87 degrees. Heating up again on Sunday, some lower 90s. We'll continue to crank that heat and humidity. Another summery stretch starts Sunday into the middle of next week, really back 10 degrees above average in the lower 90s through about Wednesday. And then our next front doesn't come through until Thursday. So again, we've got that sunshine Saturday and Sunday into early next week. Next storm chance next Thursday. Joe, Lauren.
Professional bull riding has circled back to Springfield for the PFI Western Invitational.
That's right. Hannah Zettel is live at JQH Arena. We check in with her for one last preview of what to expect this weekend.
Well, good morning, you guys. I am back this morning at JQH with Cooper Davis and Taylor Tovez. Thank you guys again for being here. I know it's early, but so tell me, like, where are we right now as far as the setup?
Okay, so like they've been in here all yesterday and the day before, setting everything up, getting the arena prepped, getting the dirt right for these bulls to have their footing, and you know, we're ready for action now.
Sure. And so this actual area is where they release them?
Well, this area right here is actually where the bull comes in. They'll take the flank rope off right here. You've got your lead-up alleys that'll come into your chutes on both sides. So you've got a right and a left-hand delivery bull, so they know which way to push them. And
Gotcha. Yeah, I was talking to Mandy a little earlier that it's very crowded in here when everything is going on. There's people like checking on all of them. Right. So tell me, we were talking a little bit earlier about superstitions, and you guys don't really believe in those, right?
No, I'm not a big superstition guy.
Right. But are there some people in PBR who do or who are into that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's different things like cowboy hats on the bed, or there's a bunch of little stuff, but
yellow shirts.
Yeah, yellow. The color yellow is not a huge, like very popular color in this sport. But I mean, obviously he's got some yellow on him. But like a yellow shirt, probably won't ever see it.
You would never.
Oh.
Cool. So, you know, there's a couple hours before this all starts tonight. How are you going to prep?
You know, I'm going to go home or go back to the hotel and take a little nap, and you know, get here about an hour and a half early, do some stretching, and let Sports Med take a look at me and go from there.
And how about you?
Go back to the room, take me a nap too, and then I'll show up here about an hour and a half, 2 hours early, and just relax until it's time to get on.
Awesome. Well, thank you both. Good luck to both of you, honestly. We will throw it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Hannah Zettel reporting this morning.
Putting crime into focus, after a long trial this week, Kenneth Davis has been found guilty of all 7 counts of abusing an 8-year-old girl. The verdict was read yesterday after jurors heard closing arguments.
That's right. Davis is also charged with abuse of a child leading to death in the case of Kensley Kilgore, who died last year in Douglas County. Kilgore's family members told us they were relieved when they heard these guilty verdicts.
It was very hard. Very hard.
He's going to get what he deserves, and it's coming. And today was a huge step.
Davis is expected to be sentenced in this Greene County case on December 6th.
Police say one person was shot in the leg at a home in the 3200 block of West Page Avenue. That's in a neighborhood southeast of West Bypass and Mount Vernon. The shooting happened shortly after 7 last night. Both the victim and witnesses, though, were uncooperative with officers, so we're not sure how badly the person was injured. No other details available right now, but in Laclede County, we're also following a 19-year-old man in stable condition after being shot. Noah Houston was shot in the midsection at a home in the 18,000 block of Jaybird Lane. He was airlifted to a Springfield hospital. The sheriff's office has identified a person of interest, but no arrests made there. They say there's no direct threat to the community, though, and that it was a targeted incident.
A plea hearing is scheduled today for two women accused in the death of an infant at an unlicensed in-home daycare in 2017. Sherry Beeson and her daughter Danielle Gerds both faced 34 felonies, 17 counts of endangering the welfare of a child and 17 counts of child abuse or neglect. Court documents say Gerds was the single person left at Books and Blocks Child Care to care for 25 minors the day that 4-month-old Brinley Jones died.
Also expected in court today is Shannon Schaefer. He's asking the judge for a bond reduction. You may remember Schaefer is the man accused of stealing a budget rental truck earlier this year involved in a fatal hit and run. He's charged with 11 felonies, including second-degree murder.
Changing gears now, sticking with some more local news for you. A new playground is being unveiled later this morning at Weller Elementary School. The ribbon cutting will take place at 9:30 there. The school was able to raise more than $30,000 to help build this. Weller is actually home to many students from around the world that take part in the English Learners program. So during the ribbon cutting, some of these students are expected to share their thanks in their first language.
And in today's political coverage, more than 100,000 Missourians were dropped from Medicaid coverage in the last year. 90,000 of those were kids.
So people all across the state gathered at the Capitol yesterday to express concern about that. Republicans say a booming economy is one reason. Another is that people didn't want Medicaid coverage anymore. But Representative Crystal Quaid says that's not a good enough reason.
We're seeing a 5 to 7% increase for Missouri's loss of coverage for Medicaid compared to other states, but we're not seeing the same thing with other social service programs. So if it was the economy, then we would see that across the board, and we're not.
Quaid had initially asked Speaker of the House Elijah Hard to task a committee to hold official hearings on the Medicaid drops, but he had not done so. Quaid says they heard from lawyers that represent people trying to get back on Medicaid, and the biggest problem they're seeing is a lack of communication between the Department of Health and those people.
That is probably the overarching biggest issue that we're hearing from folks is just they didn't know they lost coverage because they never received anything in the mail from the department. People then try to call into the department to find out what's going on, and that was an overwhelming piece of the conversation was that these call centers are cumbersome. People will sit on the line anywhere from 30 minutes to over an hour, and the department will also admit to this fact that oftentimes the call center will just drop calls.
Representative Mike Moon was also at that meeting. He serves Ash Grove. We gave his office a call, but have yet to hear back on his opinion about that hearing. Quaid said she will still be pushing for an investigation into those drops.
For the second time in a row, the Springfield Planning and Zoning Commission has voted no on recommendations to improve the Galloway neighborhood. This has been an ongoing issue since last November when many residents spoke out against rezoning. Since then, several public meetings were held to try to find a compromise with the city and the neighborhood. Last night's meeting mostly centered around recommendations on the aesthetics and building designs in Galloway. But after a discussion, committee members voted against the changes with 2 people absent. The issue was already tabled in August and will now be tabled once again for some time in the future. The recommendations cannot go before City Council until Planning and Zoning approves them.
Here's what's coming up for you on CBS This Morning.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming up, America's oldest living World War II veteran just turned 110. We're going to take you to Lawrence Brooks's birthday party. Hope there's cake. That's coming right up on CBS This Morning.
There's got to be a lot of cake for
Yeah,
that guy.
Big one for sure.
Very inspiring right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are following a Google trend this morning on the backside of last night's Democratic debate. A lot of people talking about that, and one of the main things was a controversial ad of AOC, who is a representative in New York, that shows her face burning. It's very controversial. A lot of people talking about it on social media.
Yeah, and a jarring ad that caught a lot of people off guard. So we're starting to learn a little bit more about how that sort of came to be, how that made the airwaves. And it's a trend that a lot of people are talking about. Looking forward to getting more info there. Yeah. It is a weekend, and people are getting set to make all sorts of plans, Elisa, all right? How are we looking weather-wise?
Hot out there well, no, sorry. I'm not hot today. 83 degrees, cooler and less humid. Hot by the weekend.
That's still hot, depending on who you ask.
Yeah,
it's not as bad.
All right, everyone. Thanks for starting your weekend off with us.